Jengo TV, where we discuss Africa. We try to give an African perspective to African issues. Gone are the days when the Western powers or the Asian powers would determine what news Africans should know, and gone are the days when they would analyze African stories for African consumption. We at Jengo TV are trying to bring an African perspective to the issues affecting Africa and how Africa relates to the rest of the world. Today we want to discuss Switzerland and racism. Racism has become a key issue in that country, where a good number of black people are facing increased number of attacks on racist grounds. But however, as usual, we will start off with a roundup of some of the key stories making the news in Africa in the last couple of days. We start with Kenya, where there has been serious flooding incidents that has led to some 228 people confirmed dead by flooding. That's according to the Interior Ministry. Kenya has basically seen some of the toughest rains in recent times, and has caused massive flooding, affecting many businesses. And this has led to government, and questions been asked about the country's preparedness for containing the floods. Now we go to Niger, not Nigeria, but Niger, where the U.S. forces have to end their, costly military presence in the country. Now, Niger had asked that the U.S. leave the country, even as they welcome Russia into another military base, which they have agreed can be established by the Russians. Now, the U.S. has two military bases in Niger, and those two, they're going to effectively leave the country with their troops, their personnel, and their hardware from Niger. Now, this is notable because it reflects that the global geopolitics between the US and Russia is playing out in our own continent, and it could have dire repercussions should there be any fighting between these two powers. And we go to Liberia. Now, Liberia has its president, Boakai, has signed a decree that is establishing, a court for war crimes. To all of the war events in the 1990s and early 2000s, he has established a war crimes court to try those who would be deemed to have committed war crimes. Now, many people are saying, what why now? You have so many issues to talk about, and why go back that far when, for all intents and purposes, Liberians have closed that chapter? Why not establish a TRC, a Truth and Reconciliation Commission, instead of going to establish a war crimes tribunal there? Can Liberia have the stability to hold such a thing? That has been the question being asked there. Well, Switzerland is one of the richest countries in the world. One of the best places you could even hope to live as an African. But in recent times, we have seen a dramatic change in the level of acceptance of the Swiss, of non-Swiss or bicolor, non-white people. And this has given rise to a huge spike in a number of reported racist cases against black people. Now, just last year alone, there were 876 cases of anti-black racism, which is a major rise. This is about, say, some 24% more than in 2022. Last year alone, the rise in racism was 24% more than that of 2022, which is a huge problem. There's this article from SwissInfo.ch. It says there has been a significant increase in cases of anti-Arab racism, 69 reports, Islamophobia, 62 reports, anti-Semitism, 46 reports. However, they note here, these figures are well below the number of cases of anti-black racism, which is numbering around 327 cases reported. So the black man, everywhere he goes, he's faced with tough times. He tries to escape from the hellhole in Africa. He goes across the seas to Italy, to Belgium, to France, then Germany, then UK. He is constantly being harassed because of his skin color. Now, a reputable country like Switzerland, which has been relatively peaceful, tries to avoid all wars, tries to play its card in the international system as fairly as possible, is seeing a dramatic rise in the number of black people. So of all the anti-racist reports, of about 69 for anti-Arab racism, 62 for Islamophobia, that is for last year, and then and 46 reports for anti-Semitism, you have a reported 327 cases of anti-black racist attacks in that country. Now, do we blame them? Do we blame them for being racist to black Africans in their country? Let us be very fair as Africans. Would you blame them if this were to happen to you? Naturally, you will say, yes, we should blame them. We are all one. We are all from the same genetic generation. But let me tell you this. Until and unless Africa itself begins to develop its human capital base, it begins to develop its ability to grow its industries and provide for its people, its current position, its current plight of poverty and starvation and hunger would continue to make the black skin a problem. A problem in Switzerland, a problem in generally Europe, a problem in the US, a problem even in Latin American countries. The cure to this problem that we face in Africa when we move out, or the problem our black kith and kin face who have been born in these foreign lands, is that we in the African soil are yet to prove our ability to engage with development. Surely, we were making fun of the Chinese 2-3 decades ago. When we buy their product, we make fun that, oh, Chinese products don't last. Chinese things do not last. But they've learned very fast. They have left us as third world countries, and they are now actually advanced countries. So they've moved from being third world to developing world to advanced country. And now they're developing some of the best technologies you could ever imagine in the world. I will define their progress as democracy. For me, democracy is the ability to provide for your people. It's the ability to improve on the lives of your people across all fronts. That's, for me, is democracy. So China is a democracy. Africa is in a confused state. And the African, through him, all black skin are finding it very complicated to have successful lives in the advanced world because they are perceived to be lazy, to be criminals. And where do they point? Africa. Look at them there in Africa, where they steal like a thief. They live in way in the past. The challenge now is for Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, the three biggest economies, to begin to rapidly develop, to inspire others around them. Japan's rapid developments after the Second World War and South Korea's rapid developments after the Second World War led China to be inspired, led India to be inspired. So it's a kind of contagious disease of progress. We would challenge Nigerians, who are doing very well now in the international scene, to mobilize their resources and do massive infrastructural developments, which are enough to capture a huge number of the youth base, the unskilled base, to be gainfully employed. We expect that South Africa, which has been a developed country during apartheid, should measure up and continue the pace of development by empowering black people to inspire neighbors like Mozambique, Angola, and the rest of the other countries in that sub-region. We need Egypt to spawn the Arab growth. Because when we Africans mobilize our resources, we mobilize our human capital base, we can make it. We can be highly respected across the world. But that respect can only come when we have something to point to in Africa, which should only and can only be rapid economic development. The agenda for seeking aid and seeking debt is gone. It's basically useless now, because every country that comes to Africa, every power that comes to Africa comes to exploit Africa through aid, through debt. And yet we're sitting on some of the most fertile soil anywhere in the world. And yet we have some of the best resources: oil, diamond, gold, bauxite, copper, everything. Even the EV cars, the electronic or the electric cars being made now, much of the raw materials to build them come from Africa. In some cases, come from Congo, DR Congo. We need to mobilize ourselves. And when we mobilize, the black skin can become a very powerful tool anywhere it goes. Now, who can bet that China and Chinese, anywhere they go now, they go as top people, they go as well-recognized people, because they have proven that they can make radical transformation. I am Cyril Jengo, and my producer has been Titus Kiragu. I am based in Freetown, Sierra Leone, and he is based in Nairobi, Kenya. Thank you so very much for being with us on Jengo TV.